Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our herbal hour. And tonight's going to be on the structural system. Um, but I have a treat for you. Look what I picked from our property. Really pretty. See how close I can get it.
Oh, that looks really bright to the camera. Oh, it's picking up.
Those are beautiful.
Oh, that looks good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's better on the camera than in person.
Who knows what that is?
One of the irises, isn't it?
It's not an iris.
Okay.
Not an iris.
Nice.
Hibiscus.
No, it grows wild all over the place. Here's the leaves.
Ooh.
Feel it, feel it, feel how strong it is. Sorry, you guys can't feel it.
Wow.
Oh, that's okay. Right.
It's almost like
We're missing
wood.
out.
Oh, that's very firm, like a bamboo.
It's almost like a bamboo, like wood. So my husband just ripped this out. He didn't even get the roots. Okay, so he didn't get the roots. Oh yeah, he just ripped it out, right? And then I thought, well, let's put it in water. So it's been in water. It hasn't wilted at all. It hasn't changed at all. It's really, really hardy.
Oh, nice.
And my husband's like, oh, we have to get this off of our property. We can't have this on our property. It'll take over. I'm like, what is it? You know, I didn't even know what it was. You can take this. You can take it home if you want. I will gift it to you. I have enough on my property. Okay, it's kudzu. Anybody know what kudzu is? Yeah, and guess what I have? I was going to share this with you.
How do you spell it?
Spell it. I was just saying spell it. Yeah.
There you go. I don't have to spell it. Stephen Horn did it for you. So this is a newsletter from 2003, and I will go ahead and I'll put this in the login for you, so you guys have it where you go in and when you go in and take your quizzes. And it's good for everything, right? So I was watching on YouTube, I was watching this guy talk about kudzu, and my husband are going like, I need it for that, I need it for that, I need it for this, I need it for that, I need it for this. So it is a species that will take over. So unless you want it, unless you want it on your property, and we went walking last night and it's growing around the corner. And I told him, I said, I want this. I want to have it. So we're gonna use a shovel and dig it out, and I'm gonna put it in a pot so I can contain it, because otherwise it'll just go everywhere. The parts used is the root. Okay, so now in the beginning of class you learned about the parts of the plants. I think kudzu is in that as well. And you use the leaves or the stems or the roots. So when you use the root. It's got a sweet, pungent flavor. It works on the stomach, lungs, and intestines. The plant is demulcent and soothing, reducing heat and irritation. It's also fever reducing, antispasmodic, decongestant, hypotensive, which means it lowers blood pressure, and cardiotonic. Pretty much everybody on the planet needs this, right? It's got an ability to counteract alcohol poisoning or hangovers. Oh, that would have been nice when I was younger, right? It has been used both to reduce the desire to drink, so anybody that's an alcoholic, and to help the body recover from hangovers. Studies using alcoholic hamsters showed that a water extract of kudzu caused animals voluntarily to reduce their alcohol consumption. It has a similar effect on people, making it useful to therapy for alcoholism. It's also has ability to soothe and heal intestinal membranes. How many people do you know with, IBS and problems with their intestines? It can be helpful in treating IBS, what did I just say? Diarrhea, colitis, inflammatory bowel disorders, and leaky gut. It reduces inflammation of intestinal membranes, promotes healing, helps restore tone to the tissues. It's useful for fevers, headaches associated with tension in the upper back and neck. We always call that the California shoulders, but it has nothing to do with California. Very useful for treating torticollis, which is a condition involving a stiff neck where muscle spasms on one side draw the head to one side. Another valuable use is for hypertension, which is high blood pressure. Alleviates a variety of symptoms in hypertensive patients, including dizziness, headaches, high blood pressure, tinnitus, vertigo, numbness in the extremities. Look at that. Also helpful for stiff neck associated with fevers, high blood pressure. In one study where patients suffering from angina pain, they were given hawthorn and kudzu. 90% experienced pain relief, 43% had improved electrocardiograms. Appears to dilate coronary arteries so the heart gets more blood. This helps bring down blood pressure. It also counteracts toxins, has been used to speed recovery from measles, chickenpox, helps the body clear toxins faster. It's an ingredient in the formula Kudzu St. John's wort, which is by Nature's Sunshine, featured in this issue. Kudzu is also an ingredient in Breast Assured, and Breast Assured is a combination for women that have problems with their breasts because it contains phytoestrogens. So anyway, I will put this in there. There's other information here too, which is the healing process, understanding biological terrain, and the healing process. I'm here. There's also leaky gut syndrome information from Kimberly Ballas, and inflammatory bowel disorders, natural remedies for Crohn's, colitis, leaky gut. I should have had this when we went through the digestive system and the intestinal system, but the kudzu hadn't come up on my property. And so, you know, it wasn't there. I picked everything that was there. So this is the new thing that's come up. Yeah. Okay. So this talks about inflammatory bowel disorders here, Crohn's, colitis, leaky gut, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Here's Kudzu St. John's wort information and what it has in it. And then there's other information. Remember, this is 2003, so the class schedule isn't any good anymore. But this is Stephen Orn, and he used to be the master herbalist for Nature's Sunshine. Now he's back with Nature's Sunshine again, so I'm happy about that. But anyway, that's for you to so you can learn there. He doesn't really do these newsletters anymore. I have a lot of these on my website. So if you go to the website, you go to joyfullivingservices.com, go to the nutrition button, and then you can click on it, you know, the different letters. And I have a lot of his newsletters in there under nutrition. And you can, you know, you can look around. I have all kinds of programs and cleanses and this and that, you know, all kinds of things. So, okay, questions about any of that? Not that I can answer any of them, but.
I just have a thought. I was looking up to see if there was anything I could find on flower essence with kudzu, but I did find out that when I this is Dr. Google, so I don't know how reliable it is. It said that it's good for weight loss too.
It is. It's got a list a mile long of all the things that it does.
We all need to be on kudzu, huh?
That's what I'm saying. It's good. I can't think of anybody on the planet that can't benefit from kudzu.
Yeah, it also said for liver damage, which would be good with the parasites that I'm dealing with that are eating at my liver.
Exactly.
And I was trying to find information on while you were talking on flower essence, because I thought you've got the plant, maybe you could use it to make some flower essence. That would be a fun little thing to do instead of throwing it away or doing.
Well, I'm definitely not going to throw it away. That's for sure. I'm going to put it in a pot. I have a nice pot, and I'm going to put it next to the fence, and it's going to grow over the, well, I have to be careful because I don't want it to take over my property.
Yeah, I was reading about what it does. Oh yeah,
it's very invasive. Very invasive. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into what we're here for tonight, the structural system. And there's my information. So Kristen, you're new. There's all my information. I'm a naturopath. I am an instructor for the International Iridology Practitioners Association for levels 1, 2, 3. We are a sanctioned school, and I received an award here. And I'm also a certified nutritional consultant and herbalist, and goes on and on and on and on. So there's my website and my email and phone numbers if you have questions or want to talk to me about anything or want to learn more. There's all kinds of information on the website. So welcome to learning about the structural system, and appreciate that you're here. For those of you out, you know, that'll be watching the recording, there's lots of information here. And if you have questions, just let me know. Let me go through the disclaimer. Joyful Living Services cannot be held liable for any misuse or malpractice of any techniques, taught within this webinar, nor for any injury, suffering, or distress caused by students undertaking the techniques discussed. All students must accept that they are wholly responsible for their actions relating to the practice of herbs, must adhere to the relevant laws in their country and state of residence. Students are responsible for ensuring that they have appropriate insurance for practicing in their country, state of residence. Joyful Living Service cannot be held responsible for any advice given by students to members of the public. Students must adhere to their local laws regarding the requirement for registration and/or qualification as an herbalist before suggesting supplements or offering nutritional advice. Okay, so let's go through the structural system. It consists of the skeleton, which is the bones, the muscles, the skin, the membranes, and connective tissues. This would be perfect for you, Kristen, since you're studying to be a nurse, right? The bones provide a strong, stable, yet mobile framework on which the muscles can act. The skeleton also supports and protects body organs, notably the brain and spinal cord, which are encased in the skull and the spine, and the heart and lungs, which are protected by the ribs. The structural system problems and disorders can include infections and inflammations, such as arthritis, gangrene, tetanus, warts, dermatitis, cold sores, ringworm, psoriasis, acne, and ulcers. Muscular dystrophy, tumors and fibroids, cramps, fibromyalgia syndrome, and autoimmune disorders such as lupus and arthritis. And the skeleton plays an indispensable role in movement. In effect, it consists of a series of independently movable internal levers. I like the way you explain that. Independently movable internal levers on which the muscles can pull to move different parts of the body. Skeleton also supports and protects body organs. Wonderful, yeah. The ribs make breathing possible by supporting the chest cavity so the lungs are not compressed and by helping in the breathing movements. So another function of the skeleton is the production of blood cells, which are formed in bone marrow. And here you can see we've got some bone marrow here. The skeleton also acts as a reservoir for minerals, which we all know about, like calcium, which can be utilized when needed by other parts of the body. Muscles are structures composed of bundles of specialized cells that contract and relax to create movement. Muscles move both the body and the organs within it. The brain controls the voluntary movement of the skeletal muscles. So you should know the difference between involuntary and voluntary. Voluntary means that, you're doing the work, right? Muscle activity is affected by changes in chemical composition of the fluid surrounding the muscle cells. And this is interesting, a decrease in potassium ions causes muscle weakness, where a reduction in calcium ions causes muscle spasm. How many people do you know that complain of muscle spasms? Many. Okay, many. So muscle spasms, and most people are deficient in calcium. Okay, so here we have a few pictures I put in here for you. So membranes are layers of tissue, often very thin, that cover the body's surface, line a cavity, divide a space or organ, or form the boundaries of individual cells. Okay, so here you have several membranes, including the meninges, which is here. So if you think of meningitis, yeah, that is inflammation of the meninges. Peritoneum here, that's this right here, and this goes around all of the organs here. And the tympanic, okay, and that is right here, the tympanic membrane, which has to do with the eardrum. Very interesting. So body tissues are collections of cells specialized to perform a particular function. Connective tissues include blood, adipose tissue, which is fat, and various fibrous and elastic tissues such as tendons, ligaments, cartilage, etc., that hold the body together. How many people do you know? So for those of us that know iridology, we know that there's connective tissue type. Your husband just passed level 2, okay? I'm sure he's jumping for joy.
He doesn't jump.
He doesn't jump. Okay, but he's learned about connective tissue. That's one of the subtypes that we learn in iridology. And that has to do with a very loose weave in the eye. Okay, that shows us that there's potential connective tissue issues in the body where things don't stay where they're supposed to stay, right? Especially as we age. You know, the joints, people can be double jointed, or like my son that can bend his finger all the way back to his hand, you know, or problems with the bladder falling or pressing on organs, or, you know, the intestines and so on, right? So we hear about that, connective tissue issues. Okay, so here is a really good little image. You know, I was looking for skin images. There's hardly any out there that are good. Okay, so I don't think they're good. Most of them are graphics that have been drawn with little balls all over them showing you bacteria on skin, but it's not even real images. And so I wasn't looking for something about bacteria on skin. I was looking for skin. So I found this, how to cultivate balanced skin bacteria. So from the inside, you need to balance your blood sugar. So even for the skin, you need to balance your blood sugar. You need to eat fiber-rich vegetables and fruit and use probiotics. I found it interesting, try probiotics. And from the outside, you need to take a less is more approach to skincare. I mean, I know people that just lather their skin with so many things. And a lot of times they think it's, you know, organic and it's natural, and, you know, and then they start looking at the labels and they think, oh my gosh, you know, what is all this stuff, all these chemicals I'm putting on my skin? And anything that's you put on your skin is absorbed into your body. Yeah. So think twice about harsh treatments and protect your skin's pH. Very important. So the skin is your body's largest organ. It's also acts as a third kidney. Okay, so if anybody has blue eyes, we know blue-eyed people need to work on the kidneys. Okay, besides working with the lymphatic and the respiratory systems, they also need to work on the skin. Okay, the skin protects the internal organs from the environment. Its cells are continually being replaced as they are lost to wear and tear. It consists of a thin outer layer, which is called the epidermis, and a thicker inner layer, which is called the dermis. Beneath that dermis, that's the third layer down, is the subcutaneous tissue, and that contains fat. The hair and nails are extensions of the skin and are composed mainly of keratin. And the main constituent of the outermost part, it's the main constituent of the outermost part of the epidermis. The skin acts as a barrier. So if you want to know how you get parasites, have cuts on your skin. You know, if you want to know how you get candida and bacteria and infections, okay, have cuts on your skin. Walk barefooted in the dirt, you know, especially if you have cuts. Okay, so the skin acts as a barrier. It's a protection, shielding internal organs from injury, bacteria, and harmful sunlight rays. It also regulates body temperature through perspiration. So if you have somebody like my mom who doesn't sweat, who doesn't perspire, you know, all she used to do was get really red and hot. So her skin needed, you know, it needed stimulation. It needed to be opened up, and, you know, so that she could perspire. So of course, saunas are really great to help, you know, help the skin to detox and help these things move. Vitamin D, especially important. So you can help maintain structural health by getting adequate minerals in your diet, especially calcium, magnesium, phosphorus. Vitamin D has been shown to help treat and prevent osteoporosis, osteomalacia, which is a softening and demineralizing of bones. However, remember last class, we talked about pH. You could take all the calcium in the world, and if your pH isn't in the proper pH, you're not going to absorb it. Okay, if you're too acidic, you're not going to absorb your calcium. And most people are acidic.
So what's the difference then of osteomalacia and osteoporosis if they have something to do with the bones? Is it a difference of like the bone marrow versus on top of the bone?
So osteoporosis is when you're not absorbing your calcium, right? And the
Okay.
bones get weaker and then you fall and you can
Right.
break.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. The osteomalacia is a softening and demineralizing of the
So
bones.
it's on the inside. It could be on the outside.
So you're still going to have to check pH. You
Right.
still have to have adequate pH in order to absorb the calcium. Vitamin D, it's essential to everything,
Mhm.
to the metabolism of calcium, phosphorus in the body, to protecting yourself from colon cancer, to, you know, and it's one of the things that actually drives me the most crazy in blood work, because in blood work, the range goes all the way down from 30 up to 100, and people
Mhm.
will be told 30 is fine when it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, it should be up at, 70 and above. Did you know that the Institute of Medicine recently increased the recommended daily allowance for calcium? The new daily levels recommended are 1,300 milligrams for children 9 to 18 years, 1,000 for people 19 to 50, and 1,200 for those over 50. Old levels were less. Back problems are the most common physical complaints among American adults. So many people complain. Hi, Jackie. I didn't see you pop in there.
Hello, I came in. I just came in. Hi, everyone.
Long time no hear or see.
I know, just real quick, we have a thunderstorm, so I hope I'm not knocked out. So I'm hanging in.
Okay. All right. So many people with back problems, back pain here, back pain there, hip pain, all kinds of back problems, and neck pain, and, thoracic, and all kinds of back problems. Remember that on the emotional level, back has to do with support.
Mhm.
Okay. And so the question to ask your client is, do you feel supported? Do you feel supported by your family? Do you feel supported at work? Do you feel supported emotionally? Okay, so under every physical ailment, there's always emotion, always. So you want to get to that. You want to get to that emotion and find out, who do you feel supported by? Who do you not feel supported by? And how can you change that? Okay, so that's part of it. Of course, there's posture, what kind of chair is the person sitting in? How do they stand? How's their shoes? Do they get, and then of course, there's so many other factors, if they're tense, if they're stressed and they tight their muscles, and, there's so many factors, right? Back pain has to do with so many factors. It's estimated that between 30 to 50 million Americans have arthritis. And remember, arthritis is inflammation of the joints. So you want to help them reduce that inflammation in their joints. And the way you do that, of course, check pH, because if the pH is low and they're acidic, they're going to have more pain in their joints. And then also, of course, there's herbs and changing their diet and all kinds of things that can be done. And most adults over 50 show some signs of it. Now, one of the other things that happen with adults over 50 is their hydrochloric acid tanks. Okay, so if you're over 50, you should be taking enzymes with hydrochloric acid, okay, to help break down proteins. Very important. Or eating foods that help to stimulate hydrochloric acid, such as a real big one is sauerkraut. Okay. The National Research Council reports that silicon deficiency leads to structure abnormalities of the long bones and skull in chickens, leading researchers to conclude that silicon is also important to the human structural system. Okay, so structural system analysis. If you have 4 or more of the following indications, you may consider nutritional aid to the structural system. Well, I mean, pretty much everybody I know falls in here. Skin and or complexion problems. So that's any teenager that you know. Yeah. Menopausal concerns. Any woman that is perimenopause or going through menopause. Hair loss. I can think of lots of people with that. And, stress plays a part in that as well, or lack of minerals. Sore or painful joints. So many people that I know, so many people. Difficulty in maintaining ideal weight, and that's partially diet. Okay, that could also be thyroid, that could be multiple things. Low endurance stamina. That could be from sitting too much, that could be not exercising, that could be from being tired, low iron, so many things. More than 2 cups of caffeinated beverages per day. I know lots of people that drink more than 2 cups of caffeinated beverages per day. I know somebody, one of our friends, I just found out that he drinks 4 cups of coffee a day. And I'm thinking about all that acidity, all that acid that he's bringing into his body. And then the other thing I found out is that he eats fast food French fries every day. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, eventually that's going to catch up with him. And he is a little younger than I am. So, he's getting to that age where he's going to start paying for it. He's going to pay for it.
There's a scientist that brought up that, I forget what kind, if it's just all coffee, that we all should stop drinking it because it actually has a toxin in it based off of how it's heated up and when you drink it. So when you do that, that's where some of the dehydration comes from, because the toxin that's in the coffee is actually attributing to that, not just because you feel like a crash because it's coffee and you're just the caffeine part of it, but there is kind of like how you cook something, or if you burn something, it's going to create like another chemical, like a smoke or fume. And I was like, I never thought about that, but I forgot the name of the chemical. It was just a random.
Was it hexane? It'd be interesting to know. So
It's
maybe you
something
can
along
find
those
out.
lines, but you use hot boiling water, you put it over the beans or however you get the coffee, but that burning, that chemical burning or that type of burning of the coffee holds a type of toxin in it.
Interesting.
That can be bad for you, that culminates into maybe a crash or maybe a feeling of like drained energy or dehydration.
Yeah, it's also very acidic. So
Right.
Which throws off your pH.
Mhm.
So brittle or easily broken fingernails. Lots of people with brittle or easily broken fingernails. Muscle cramps. Many. So my husband is notorious for getting muscle cramps. But I've been paying attention to him. He doesn't drink water. We go work outside on our property. Like, okay, so a great example is when he pulled this kudzu for me. Yeah. So I make him a huge jug of water when we go out there. He comes back in 6 hours later, and it's like full or half full, and then he comes in and he drinks a soda that he buys, Yeah, it doesn't have high fructose corn syrup in it, but it still has sugar. And so he's getting the carbonation, which is not good for your bones. Okay, he's getting the sugar, which pulls calcium out of bones. He's not drinking water. Oh my gosh. And then he can't figure out why he gets cramps.
He's in the sun sweating.
And he's in the sun sweaty, and he's blue-eyed. And then he gets those big, swollen underneath the eyes here, which has to do with
almost like water
with
retention.
water retention in the kidneys. It shows kidneys. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, hello, husbands. So muscle cramps, yeah, feeling out of control, weak bones, teeth, or cartilage, and don't get enough exercise. They're saying that the sitting is the new smoking. So gotta exercise, gotta move. Whole30 is my favorite, absolute favorite way of eating. And so originally I was going to put the food pyramid on here. Oh, and I was going to say bad food pyramid, but I didn't want to do that. But the food pyramid, the largest section of the food pyramid is carbs. And you wonder why there's so much diabetes in the world. So notice here, Whole30 plate, the largest part of that plate, 2/3 of that plate is vegetables. And then you've got a small section, the size of your palm is protein. You've got your fruits and you've got your good fats. Okay. So eat regular balanced meals, get adequate sources of calcium, perform weight-bearing exercises, including walking. Yoga is great for that. Chew fibrous fruits and vegetables for strong teeth. Practice oral hygiene. Here's the link here, whole30.com. They have all kinds of programs. It's all, you can go in there. It's all free. They have all kinds of shopping lists. They have programs for people with all kinds of different health problems, which is really great. So if you have clients that have problems with their GI tract, different problems, you can go on there and you can download all these different shopping lists for them and programs for them. It's great. It's a really great program. When do we get to eat brownies? I love it, Jackie. Whenever you want, you can eat brownies. Just don't tell me about it. No, just kidding. You know, we all Yolanda, we all have our favorite things, yeah. And so, you know, you've got to have a treat once in a while. So Christos Malenkos, he is a past president of IPA, and he's in Australia, and he has the let's see, 15 and 5 is 20. So he's got the 80, I have to do backwards, 80, 15, 5 rule.
I've heard of that one.
So 80% of the time you are a good girl or a good boy. You're a good person. You eat right. 80% of the time you eat Whole30 like this. Okay. You do the best for your body that you can do. You eat the foods that you know are good for you, that your body can tolerate. You eat the snacks that you know are good for you, that you can tolerate, that won't bother you. Okay. Then there's that 15% there. Okay. And so let's say, you know, you go to a barbecue and they have all these things there that you know that if you eat them, oh, you're going to pay for it. You're going to get bloated. You're going to get constipated, or the opposite. You can have the runs. You know, you're going to get a headache. There's going to be something. Okay. So, you know, you can choose. You can choose to eat some of those things. Like my daughter Josephine, I'll see her get something and I'm like, you sure you want to eat that? She looks at it. She goes, yeah. I go, and you know what the consequences are? She goes, yeah, I'm going to take a chance. I'm like, okay, okay. You know? And then that 5% is when you go to your friend's house, it's a birthday party and they have a cake and you just enjoy that cake. Yeah. Once in a while you have that cake. But 80% of the time you are good. You're walking that straight line. You're eating the way you know your body wants you to eat. You listen to your body. 80%. Okay. So anyway, Whole30.com. This is great. And I use it for my clients, and most of my clients, if you have clients that want to lose weight, works great for losing weight. If you have clients that have bowel issues, works great for people with bowel issues, skin issues, all kinds, because you stop putting the foods in your body that cause irritation and cause digestive upset. Okay, let's look at some products. Remember that I have made these generic, so that's not any particular product line, and you know, so you can buy them anywhere. So skeletal combinations, and you can see what you want to look for here, things that contain A, C, D, B6, B12, calcium, iron, and so on and so on. Hair, skin, nail combinations. If you have clients that have problems with their hair, their skin, and their nails, you know, you want to make sure that there's silicone and horsetail, dulse and horsetail have silicone in them. And so you want to make sure sage and rosemary, those are also really great. Joint support, that's really great for anybody that has arthritis, problems with their joints. You know, it's great to reduce joint inflammation and ease pain. And so we want to not take over-the-counter medicine to get rid of the pain. Okay, somebody may have to do that in the beginning if they have arthritis, or if it's really bad and they're used to taking medicine to get rid of the pain. But that is not how we work. Okay, naturopaths and herbalists and iridologists, we don't work that way. We don't just work to get rid of the symptoms. Okay, we want to find out what the cause is. What is the cause of that arthritis? What's the cause of that pain in your knee? What's the cause of this inflammation? Okay, and then once we figure out what the cause is, you know, we look at the pH of the body. We look to see if they're too acidic. We look at their diet. We look at, you know, their posture. We look at all these different components, their digestion, and so on, so on. Once we figure out the cause, then we look to work towards that cause. Okay, and we look to feed the body. Okay, herbs are food, just like this. This is a beautiful flower, right? It's a beautiful flower. I would have left it actually up there on the hill. I saw it. I saw it from my fence all the way across. I'm like, hey, what is that? It's so pretty from all the way across. And my husband's like, oh no, is that kudzu? I'm gonna go kill it. I'm like, no, don't kill it. It's so pretty. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful flower, but it's also an herb. Okay. And just like carrots, carrots are great. You like to eat them. You like to put them in your salad. They're really good and really crunchy, and you can cook them and you can eat them, and they're good for you, and they have a lot of fiber. And then once you dry them out, you put them in a capsule, or you eat them for your eyes because you know they have vitamin A in them. It becomes an herb. Same with this beautiful flower. Of course, you don't eat the flower and you don't use the flower. You're going to use the root, which I'm not giving you. Sorry.
I understand.
But that's the same thing. And that's the difference. That's the difference, or the same thing. It's a flower. It's also an herb. So it will also feed the body. And so that's what we want to do. We want to feed the body. So there's joint support combinations. It feeds the body. It helps. Notice it contains bromelain, which is a protein digestivate. A lot of times when people have allergies, what's going on now? They have allergies. They have arthritis. They have problems with breaking down their proteins. And you start helping people break down their proteins. Guess what? Allergies go away. And the pH starts changing in the body, and pain starts going away. It's actually amazing. Stephen Horn, and I've said this before, but Stephen Horn said if you only do one thing for somebody, is help them with their digestion. They will love you forever. They will love you forever. Here's some more glucosamine. Glucosamine is really important. It's a building block of cartilage. And by supplementing, we can strengthen and rebuild cartilage throughout the body. Chondroitin attracts fluid into the joints where it acts as a shock absorber. So a lot of times you can get combinations that have glucosamine and chondroitin together. Really good. People that have fibromyalgia, you can always find fibromyalgia combinations. And MSM glucosamine cream is really great to put topically. So that helps as well. Okay. For the skin, we always want to look at purifying the skin or cleaning the skin. So there's a homeopathic remedy called Hema Ether, and Hema Ether is great for anybody who has brown eyes. Okay, so like you have brown eyes. Anybody that has true brown eyes, anybody has true brown eyes, Hema stands for hematogenic, which is a brown eye. Okay. And so that is a homeopathic remedy combination for brown-eyed people for cleaning their skin, for helping the skin detox. So if you know anybody that has psoriasis and eczema and problems with their skin, it's really good for helping the skin to detox. Really important. It's called Hema Ether. I don't have it written down here. It's HEMA and then ether, ETHER. Okay, so herbs. There's a blood purifying combinations, and you can see this has burdock, which helps clean the blood, podarco, which we use that for viruses, but also for cleaning the blood, red clover for cleaning the blood, sarsaparilla for hormones, yellow dock for iron, dandelion for the liver, make sure they don't have high blood pressure if they use dandelion, buckthorn, cascara for opening up the bowel, as long as they don't have IBS. So if you got a client that has irritable bowel, be really careful with cascara. Peach bark, yarrow, Oregon grape, prickly ash. This is just in this combination, but there are other combinations. So, there's lots of different blood purifying combinations. Evening primrose oil, really good for the skin. It provides essential fatty acids that help with eczema and brittle nails. Tea tree oil has been really great, also known as oil of melaleuca. It's really great to the skin, irritant free, and it's known as an antiseptic and antibacterial. Podarco is my absolute favorite herb in the whole world. Yeah, that's my favorite. It's great for viruses. It's great for candida. It's great for if you feel like you're getting a cold or getting sick. You can use it on the hands, the arms, the face. My husband, the first vacation we went on, he developed an abscess on his gum, and we were staying at this travel lodge, and I had podarco in my suitcase. So I got a capsule of it and I made him a poultice, and I mixed it with some, I don't know what I had, some oil, and then he put it right on his gum. The next morning, problem was gone. All the inflammation was gone, problem was gone. Never had that problem again, just from using Podarco, the dry Podarco. Okay, herbal calcium. Herbal calcium is easier to absorb than calcium pills. Okay, and especially if it's cheap, forget it. You know, going to Walmart and buying supplements is not a good idea. Okay, because it's usually cheap and it's usually the type of supplement that the body cannot absorb. There again, always check pH. In the last class, you know, I talked about pH, and you all received the pH papers, how to check for pH and all that. Okay, flow charts. Here we have inflammation, joints and muscles, and indications for inflammation in the joints. There can be heat and or swelling to the touch, sensitivity to damp weather. If you know somebody that says when it's raining, they hurt. Diagnosis of arthritis, gout, or other inflammatory joint diseases, and high protein diet. I know you're speaking on the structural system, but can you determine cause when it comes to the big C?
Oh, can you?
Do you have a list of contraindications, supplement to supplement and supplement to medicine? Yes, actually, that's at the end of the class. I have a whole thing on that. So, and as far as the big C, I use the Zyto for that a lot, and muscle testing for that. So I have somebody that just came in that has gone through treatment for that, and she's really worried, you know, she doesn't want to wait to see if it comes back, so she's taking a proactive approach to it.
Okay.
And I ran the Zyto, and the indications did not show up in the Zyto of what I would expect to show up.
Got it.
And she did have a PET scan after that, and her PET scan came back clear. So, you know, but she is on homeopathy now for the types of things that we would use for that, just to make sure that, you know, her body does what it needs to do so that she doesn't, you know, it doesn't hopefully come back. There's no guarantee. There's never a guarantee. You know, she's in remission, and once you're in remission, you know, it can do what it's going to do. But, you know, the things that we see in Zyto that are a possibility to show up is virus infection, parasites, and molds. So, you know, if I see all those things and there are high amounts, and then it comes up with some of the herbs that we use for that, then, you know, then there's a possibility. But remember, we can't diagnose. We're not doctors. We cannot diagnose. And so, you know, I use the Zyto to help with that. Are slides available along with recording? For what, Terry? You mean these slides?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanted to, yeah, go ahead. It helps me remember all this stuff.
if you want the slides, send me a message. I'll send you the slides.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so things to use if there's inflammation in the joints, joint support combinations. These are the things we talked about: glucosamine, chondroitin. There's other things: noni, MSM, coral calcium, which is alkalinizing, which is important, but you've got to check pH. Okay, green drinks, which are alkalinizing, and then these are some of the oils that Kathy Norris added for me. Muscles, if there's heat or swelling, muscle pain, sleep disorders, depression, and fatigue, then these are some of the supplements that were recommended. Originally, this was created by Stephen Horn, and of course, you know, we've edited a little bit. Fibromyalgia combinations, MSM and glucosamine cream, IGF sprays, and then these are some of the oils from Kathy that she added. Muscles, and if the bones are weak, they're brittle or easily broken bones, bone or joint injuries, lack of exercise, if somebody's going through menopause, insufficient calcium, vitamin D deficiency, which is crazy and constant, Diet high in phosphate-containing foods such as animal products, alcohol, caffeine, and smoking. If somebody has hydrochloric acid deficiency, which, like I said, is very possible after 50. Then skeletal combinations, herbal calciums, boron, which is a bone hardener, thyme, and then these are some of the oils that Kathy put on there: thyme, helichrysum, northern lights, black spruce, cool, azul, aroma, sice, and deep relief. Okay, so just know in no way, shape, or form is this prescribing. I got to get that on video. So this is something that you can use, that you can muscle test, or you can use a pendulum, or any other way that you test your clients, whether it be Zyto or any other way you can test for these things to see if the body would want them. But in no way, shape, or form or any of these charts diagnostic or prescribing, because we can't do that. We're not doctors. We are not allowed to diagnose or prescribe. Okay. These are suggestions only. Oh, my favorite topic, iridology. So this is an eye here that I put in here for the muscular system. And you see my little arrows here is pointing to these rings. You should ask your husband about this. Don't tell him what you learned. But when you go home, say, hey, honey, look what was in my class tonight. Can you tell me what these rings are? And see what he says. All right. So these rings are called contraction furrows. We know them as nerve rings, stress rings, sensitivity rings, people with anxiety. Okay, this is one way that a person can show these things in their iris or in their body. Okay, and so when we have these rings going around, this is created in the eye from many, many generations of stress and anxiety. But it's caused from the pupil contracting and expanding, contracting, expanding very quickly over a long period of time. And when you see these rings in the eyes, it's an indication that there can be contractions in these parts of the body. So if somebody tends to get headaches a lot when they get stressed out, okay, there's some people, they get stressed and they instantly get headaches, or they get migraines. You know, their neck and their shoulders get very tight and they get migraines. Okay, a lot of times these rings will show up. This is the head area here. This is the brain. Okay, and so this is showing us that they can hold tension. Tension can also affect those blood vessels and tighten those blood vessels, constrict those blood vessels. Okay, you see it out here. It can affect the lungs. So for instance, a lot of times when people have anxiety, or I guess this is the right eye, so it'd be over here. These are the lungs and breasts over here. So reaction fields for the lung and the breast. So if somebody gets stressed and then they feel tight in their chest or have trouble breathing, because when they get stressed, that's what happens to me. When I get really stressed, I get tight in my chest. Okay, and I have a lot of these rings in my eye. Okay, so that's just showing you where anxiety, where tension can affect that person's body. It can affect them in the lungs, in the chest area. Okay, if they have the rings down here at the bottom, well, this is the bottom part of the body. This would be the legs and the kidneys and the knees and the feet and all the lower organs. Okay, so if they get stressed, maybe it can affect circulation in the legs. It can affect the kidneys. Okay, and inside here we have the bronchioles and we have the throat, and so it can affect the throat. Okay, maybe somebody's going to get a sore throat when they get stressed. Okay, or have chronic sore throats. So, we need to look at more than just the physical. We need to look at the emotional that goes right along with that. So that is why I put this eye here, because this is a perfect sign for looking at the muscular system. And what that means, or what that can mean, is this person would drive that stress into those parts of the body without even knowing it. They don't know they're doing it. It's subconscious. They don't know. That's where they hold, or that's where they can hold tension and stress. They could hold it in their muscles. Okay. And so anything to help them relax, Epsom salt baths are really great for that, right? Because it's Epsom salt, high magnesium, great for relaxing the tissues, great for relaxing the joints and the ligaments and helping them with the tissues. Walking their dog, massages, anything to help them relax. Anything at all is really good for somebody that has these rings in their iris. Saying no is huge for people that have these rings in their iris. Usually these type of people say yes to everything. Hey, would you do this? Yes. Will you do this? Yes. Will you do this? Yes. And then they get overwhelmed, right?
Okay.
Trust me, I have these rings in my eyes. I know this. Okay. These people are usually A-type personality. They like things a certain way. I mean, if you go around, look at my office, I'm not perfect, but I have
Focus on certain things you want to do.
yeah, I have order.
Yeah.
And and same at my house. I have order, and so we're more in our head type of people. We're more A-type personality, want things a certain way, and we tend to say yes to things instead of no to things. So we have to learn how to say no. We have to learn. It's a tough one. It's really tough for these kind of people to say no. Okay, here's another way of looking at the structural system. There's the pupil, and here's the pupil, right around the pupil, this is called the pupillary border. Okay, and the pupillary border, we look at this, but this is the spine here. When we look at the eyes, this is a position for the spine. Now, the pupil is supposed to be perfectly round. Okay, is that perfectly round? No, it's not, is it? It's got flattening. It's called pupil flattening right here, right where the arrow is, it's flat. And this has to do with part of the spine. Okay, so when you look at somebody's eyes, it's even a little bit flat right here. When you look at somebody's eyes, when you take a picture of their eyes and you enlarge it like this, you can see the pupil, you can see the pupil flattening if they have it. And then you can talk to them, you can ask them about their back, about their spine, and see if they have any, issues with their back.
Right.
So if we see pupil flattening, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to send them for massage. We're going to send them possibly to a chiropractor. That's where I would go, as long as they don't have serious issues with their spine. We're going to send them to osteopaths. We're going to send them, to help relax the muscles in their back, wherever that flattening is, whether it's the cervical spine, the thoracic spine, the lumbar spine, depending on where the flattening is, that'll tell us which vertebra might need to be moved, may need some work in their back. And I will tell you that changes. Okay, that does change. That flattening will become round as that person is working on their health. They're working on their spine, they're working on their back, they're working on the muscles, they're working on the joints, they're working on the ligaments, they're working on the bones. That will round. Okay, it does not stay flat like that. Unless the person is not taking care of it, unless it's not being taken care of, then it will stay like that. Okay. So I have two flattenings in my pupils. I have a flattening here on both pupils. So this is the nasal section. So the nose is right here. This is the left eye, and the nose is here. So I have what's called inferior nasal flattening, which is down here so inside by my nose and down. And that has to do with the arms, and that has to do with writer's cramp and carpal tunnel syndrome and cramping in the hands and the arms. And so now I'm good. Okay, now I'm good. I used to have really severe carpal tunnel, so severe. My hands would go numb. They would ache and go numb, and I'd have to wear the brace. I wore the brace, but that didn't take care of it. The brace didn't take care of it. It kept it straight, but it didn't take care of the cause. Right. And it didn't take care of the problem. And so that's what I'm talking about. The way that we work is we look for the cause. Well, guess what? The cause is coming from my neck. Okay, I've got a couple vertebrae up here that aren't too happy. It's coming from my neck. And so then I learned about traction. I learned about traction. And so for a while I was doing traction, which was relieving the pressure on these vertebrae. Also massaging the muscles in the arms, and getting a lot of body work. I had a lot of body work done, chiropractic, massage, traction, got all that done. And guess what? I don't have any more problem. No more problem. Okay, with my arms. Once in a while, you know, when I'm doing yoga, if I'm holding positions for a long time, it could get set off, but then I do my stretching that I know to do. I do, you know, my massage that I need to do. I do the traction that I know to do, and it doesn't cause me problems. Okay, so wherever that flattening is, that has to do with a different part of the body. So if the flattening is here at the top, guess what? That has to do with the head. That has to do with the cervical vertebra. If the flattening is down at the bottom, it has to do with the lower part of the body. Okay, it has to do with the hips and the legs and the thighs and the feet. It has to do with circulation to all those parts of the body. It has to do with the lower parts of the body. If it's inside here, hi Chris, it has to do with the cervical. Okay, not cervical, the thoracic spine. Okay, so depending on where the flattening is, that has to do with the different parts of the spine. So if you take a picture of your eyes, or you have somebody else take a picture of your eyes, part of what you want to do is you want to look at the pupil to see if there's any flattening. And it's amazing because it will give you a lot of information. Now, I have a PDF of pupil flattenings. If you would like that PDF, send me an email. I'll give it to you if you want it as well when you're here, or I can email it to you if you want the PDF. Okay, send me an email saying, send me your PDF of your pupil flattenings, and I will send it to you. Okay, and in there it has each one of the positions and the pupil flattenings, and it has the vertebra that needs to be worked with, where that flattening and what some of the symptoms could be based on those flattenings. Okay. All right, so guess what? Look who's here just in time. All right, so Chris just joined us. That was perfect timing, Chris. And
yay.
all right, so Chris is new with us. He joined us, and I'm going to introduce you. He's an instructor. He's a meditation instructor. And he's going to do a little meditation for us tonight, introduce meditation to us tonight, which is very exciting. He meditates daily. He's been a student of the Sanskrit mantra since 2017. For the past 3.5 years, he's worked as a mindfulness coach, and he specializes in guiding clients in meditation for releasing trauma. He holds a BA in psychology and a master's in kinesiology. And for the past 2.5 years, he has worked as a mindfulness coach for LEAF, which is love-based education for adoptive families. He guides clients in establishing a mindfulness practice and using mindfulness to release trauma, to create greater love and empathetic connection in families. He has 2.5 years of experience assisting with grief retreats as well. And he leads mindfulness retreats, teaches group mindfulness classes. He's going to do a class here Friday night. So that's really great. In mindfulness, a place inside is cultivated that is safe and peaceful beyond outer circumstances. And in the state of inner safety, we naturally begin perceiving deeper truth. So this mindful perception has zero judgment. The new truths we become aware of actually guides our outer relationships and the process of healing our past. As is said, the truth sets us free. Mindfulness sets us free spiritually and psychologically, and that freedom is our birthright. So Chris is here tonight to help talk to us about meditation, lead us through a little meditation, and deepening the freedom and truth within us. And if you want to talk to Chris after, you can reach him. That's his email there. And you can text him, and that's his phone number, 207-939-1805. He is with Tears of Beauty, Meditation and Healing. Thank you for coming tonight, Chris. Welcome.
What an introduction, Brenda. Thank you.
Here, I'm going to stop the share so that you can have the screen.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that picture of me is really showing a lot of leg. Leg.
I'm not going to say anything.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. I think Brenda and I were just talking about doing a collaboration with her approach to herbal healing, taking these remedies from the outside into our body and blending that with my approach, which is the inside out model. So moving our awareness into our body and even what needs physical healing in our body. And then in meditation, naturally, our awareness is going deeper. And I think a lot of the times we can willfully, just maybe ignorance all the way to the spectrum of just fearful avoidance, kind of avoid the more meditative aspects of our physical symptoms. And when I say meditative aspects, we're going to find, if we have physical issues, physical symptoms, we'll find emotion there. We'll find that there's visuals we can get. Those can actually be memories that have been stored in our tissue in the body. They can also be representative images, like, more representative of just kind of the vibration that's being held there. So not something we've actually experienced, but something that will just give the kind of overview and of what is being held in the body in that location. And then lastly, when we start to move our awareness into, we have these symptoms all through the body, painful locations or painful things. And as we learn in meditation to move our awareness into that location, the vibration there actually can translate into words that we'll hear as the voice in our head. And we can even tune that ability to listen to the vibration around it, and it's going to emerge as words that we'll hear. So we have the emotions, we have visual memories or representative images that we can see. The emotions are felt by our awareness, and then the beliefs, the mental aspect that we'll hear as a voice in our head. And this is all just for the symptoms in the body. This is all just for literally our physical stuff. We're taking this approach of the inside out. With that said, does anyone have any questions regarding just what's been shared thus far about that approach for the symptoms in our physical body? And I realize what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was a student of metaphysics for 2 years, and I've been on the holistic journey, and I've learned still mind meditation. And I really love how I feel when I do meditate, because I like to be out of my element of my body. I don't have to worry about the time. I can just be me, and nobody's bothering me, and I'm alone, and I love being there. So it's, once you do it and you start liking it, you stick with it, and you don't let people detour. You be like, okay, I know I got to go home and just break free. And then you just feel like a new person once you back into the form again, this body.
Well, it sounds like some powerful meditations you were having, Yolanda, going formless. So it was just, let's just see if this is a good topic to meditate on for everyone. We were going to kind of, Brenda and I talked about exploring the avenue of healing, just beginning to explore the healing of physical symptoms with meditation by taking this approach that says, I can have some emotion, past experience, and beliefs stuck in areas of my physical tissues that leads to like very real, very objective discomfort or whatever. It can show up anywhere. Is that a topic y'all would like to explore? And if not, we can totally head a different direction. But
I think that's great. What does everybody else think?
I have a question.
Good.
I think a lot of people carry muscle tension. Do you have anything like you can focus on that? Because I feel like if I focus on the muscle tension, it will help release a lot of things.
I think that is absolutely ideal thing to start with this technique on, right? Because we all know when we get stressed, it lowers our immune system. So we're just beginning to weave together those threads of like, I have muscle tension and there's some other factors that are, you can't really measure. If you cut the body open, you're not going to like see stress or whatever, but we're just going to start to go into we just literally move our awareness into that location in the body where those symptoms are, and we'll just learn this style of meditation for starting to unravel that. So yeah, absolutely, let's definitely explore that. I love it, Terry. Thank you for your question. It's super helpful. I have this thing in my stomach, it pops off every now and then. I'm like, oh my God, do I have like an internal hernia, or like, is this something? And then when I meditate on it, I get all these things, like when I start lifting weights and I'm getting all strong, like something just pops off in my body. And I'm like, I kind of refuse to accept that I just have a weak body that just wants to break and give out and can't like maintain it. So when I really move my awareness there, I feel tons of stuff around failure and just not being able to succeed, and all this really kind of like these heavy issues that are manifesting physically and actually preventing me, from not just fitness goals. That's just kind of one avenue, but then it's kind of like a systemic issue throughout my life. So it's super, super helpful to begin to get traction on this. You start to move your awareness into it and you get a little grip on it. And there's this feedback loop. Like you got to have this kind of uncomfortable process, moving your awareness into these. And eventually you get free from those issues and you're going to have this other more freedom. And then it loops back in. You're going to dive back into these kind of painful, more painful areas, speaking emotionally or psychologically. However, you're going in with this great purpose of getting free from them. And just in meditation, we say that our awareness is like, an incinerator that just like burns all the trash, or whatever incinerators burn. They just absolutely combust it. So as you do this, as you go into muscle tension or wherever area it is in your body, as you do that, we're just going to think like, as things start to move through, you're like, one, I'm feeling it, but just my awareness of feeling it is like an incinerator, and it's actually burning through all the stored energy held in the body, be that emotional or psychological or memories. It's starting to combust. So yeah, that is a little bit of an overview. Does anyone else have any areas in their body that they would like to explore given this technique or this approach?
Neck, shoulders.
Neck and shoulders. Is that more of a muscle tension thing too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
Anybody else?
For me, it's consistent with the right hip. It just keeps giving it. I don't know if it's structural or emotional, but I'm wondering if it's emotional. So I don't know if that can be addressed, but I mean, that might not be everybody else's issues. But I think the hips, we carry a lot of emotions, right? If I'm mistaken. So that's why I was thinking that working on the muscles, and then it's like, I'm assuming as the process goes on, then it will be like, okay, is it physical? Is it emotional? Whatever. And so it will dissolve, hopefully, unless I'm not thinking on the same page.
We're on the same page. And yeah, I totally with you. And also I've moved some rather horrific things out of my own right hip. So girl, I'm so with you. Like there's a lot there. There's a lot there. And it takes so much courage to do this, because a lot of people can even just like run from kind of just closing their eyes and turning inward to what their body's communicating. They can just totally run from that and stay fixated on whatever approach of looking for that external solution. But I think it's a really rapid path, blending this with herbology, blending this with the external solutions, and beginning to dive on in to what's being held there. And no pressure for anyone else to share, but I would love to hear from y'all if anyone else is just aware of these spots in the body or any other symptomology that there's kind of like an intuitive knowing, like, yeah, there's something else there other than just like whatever Western medicine would say is happening there.
May I say something else? I don't mean to monopolize things, but like I notice with my right hip, and I forget, is right means public, or I know a right side and the left side mean different things. I always get confused. Or the right is for male and left female. I get confused, so you can correct me on that. But I notice I feel like I'm an empath, so it's like I'll dissolve it, and then something else. It's like I pick up on other people's stuff, and then it's back. So it's kind of this tug of war, if you will. So I don't know if that's helpful. If like I said, I don't know if I'm on target with where your thinking is, but that's kind of where my brain circles around. But if it needs to be corrected, I'm all on board for that. And
Yes.
whatever.
Yes, wonderful awareness. Like there's some like, yeah, something around boundaries, picking up other people's stuff, kind of taking it in. And then it sounds like, does that actually cause physical pain or physical symptoms in that hip?
Yeah, and I've been going to the chiropractor, and he's been doing the TENS unit and all that, and it works for really good for the moment. But then, I get into another emotional trauma drama, and it's back. But it in honest, fair sense, not to get into miserizing with my situation, but my husband works in emergency medicine, so we deal with a lot of trauma drama, and we're taking care of 3 elderly parents in their 80s. So the Ewald house is always 911. But I got to learn to cope with it in a different way than putting it in my right hip. Like they say, put it in your right pocket, put it in your hip pocket. I got to stop that. And I don't know how.
Oh, so these are such beautiful insights and questions. I've had to learn all this stuff myself, and continue to learn it and practice it, and I absolutely get it. In yoga and even more like esoteric kind of practices of meditation, they would say the psyche is held in our energetic anatomy, and that anatomy holds our personality. It holds who we are, the good and the bad. And so if there is a boundary issue, it correlates to an issue just within the energetic anatomy, in the personality, why there's a hole there that's allowing other people's stuff to come on in like it's your own. So we can absolutely see what can be done to update that. Yeah, it's not fun. So I love it. I think right side of the body just is traditionally associated with the masculine, so you're totally on the right track there, just from my understanding. Not that, and kind of my right side's all jacked up, and that just correlates to my experience of life. So beautiful awarenesses, Terry. Beautiful. Totally.
Thank you. I thought it was the male side. I got, because the male takes in and the right side and the left gives out. I thought that's how I taught. Sometimes we hear so many different things, it gets a little muddled inside. But yeah, that totally makes sense, because with my husband's work, we're constantly dealing with trauma drama and heartache, especially here in Chicago. It's just nonstop stuff. But I just need to learn, like you said, those boundaries, to not be the empath and let that go. And my mantra is carefully and prayerfully. I don't know what else to do. So that's my thoughts, if that's helpful.
That's totally helpful. Yeah, it'll help just kind of guide and direct where we go in meditation. And as you start to unpack this, because we're doing you're doing your chiropractor, whatever, herbs or whatever external other remedies, we're just going to start to unpack that right hip from the inner approach too. And don't be dissuaded if as you move one thing, if that doesn't completely eliminate the symptomology, because it kind of weaves together. Like you have a woven tapestry or a whatever cloth, there's going to be just all this like vibration. So like experience, like emotionality, whatever, all kind of stored in that same location. So as we start to unpack it, we will, there can be layers. So just to have a realistic timeline of kind of being with ourselves and our process, I would always just get super frustrated and be like, why isn't, what the heck? I moved it. Now there's another like deeper thing. this is baloney. But just to have an accurate timeline of the work it can take, and that, you know, even if as we receive an insight in meditation for healing our body, the next meditation can give us fresh insights, new insights, deeper insights, until it fully clears and alleviates. So just to have that, not to be overly optimistic and like, yeah,
no. And I appreciate that, because you have to I call it processing. You have to process it. But I was going to say what I kind of add to the layer of it, because I like to do things in layers, is I use the self-heal every day on my face and on my ears, because I figured in TCM I'm kind of covering everything. And that I was thinking, would that be advantageous to add with the meditation to help you kind of self-heal through the process, if you're familiar with self-heal flower essence?
I
You
think,
may not be. Some people aren't. So
well, I'm not directly familiar with that, but I would say I am just such a fan of people finding their own unique magic in meditation. The only parameters I say is like, dude, just be still, close your eyes. And just naturally, your awareness with your intention will start to move where it needs to go. So if it works for you to have the application of like red light therapy, what you do it, or flower essences or whatever, like do it up for you. And yeah, just keep exploring and finding your unique magic in those meditations.
So
thank you for your input.
Oh, sorry. So are you going to lead us in a little meditation for these things?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. We always just negotiate with Brenda and her cohorts. I negotiate with them for how long they can sit still.
I have no idea,
Should we
because
start
Kristen
the
hasn't
bidding?
said anything, and neither has Jackie. Kristen and Jackie, are you guys here?
I'm here.
I'm here, but I actually missed the first part. What is it that we're doing?
Well, he's going to lead us through a meditation, but do you have anything like in your body that is hurting, or that you would want to meditate up for or to?
Well, I have a unique situation because I deal with stress in an unusual way, in that it's okay, bottom line, Brenda, as you know, my son with special needs, so we go through some really intense moments in this house where we're dealing with physical stress. He can get violently aggressive. So 2 nights ago at about 3 to 4 in the morning, I held him in what is called a PRT, a primary restraint technique, so that he will not get aggressive and violent and throw things, which he had been, and breaking things in the house in the early wee hours of the morning. Now, I find myself, after holding him in that position for over an hour, that 2 days later, today, my body is sore, my entire body, because it required a lot of leg muscles. If I used to do karate, so I was in a horse stance, so I'm working with my quads, but then using upper body and back, so the lats and the deltoids and everything is just, worked out. Extraordinarily in an unusual way, because it's not something that is normal. So I'm saying anything you do tonight will help, not to focus on me, because my situation is unusual. So I'm sure that if you focus on whatever other people's needs are, I can benefit from that as well.
Oh, girl, we all got unusual things going on. So it will just be general. And in your own practice, your awareness will just be gently guiding your own awareness as you kind of shepherd it along into the areas in your body. And a lot of just the only parameters is just kind of be still and close your eyes.
Okay.
And that's it. Yeah.
Is it better that we're like in a dark, quiet room, or does it matter, the surroundings?
I do think quiet is preferable. I don't know if the lighting, if you're sensitive to lighting, it might matter, but I do think the quieter, the better.
Want to turn off the lights?
Generally.
You go over there and turn off the light if you care. No? Okay. Well, we're ready.
You guys are ready? Who you got in
We're
here?
we're ready. See, nobody can see you. Can I turn around so that you can say hi? Oh, you to come around? Okay.
Kristen, is there anything you would care to just throw into the pot of healing?
That was
I
very
don't really
quick.
have anything at the moment.
Okay. Well,
I'm
cool.
just soaking it all in.
You're just soaking it all in. All right.
Okay.
Awesome, guys. So can we all just negotiate? How long, realistically, could y'all sit with your eyes closed and a still body?
5 minutes.
Huh?
3 to 5 minutes.
Okay, so she said 3 to 5 minutes.
Who's there with you?
Come back over here. You said hi. Nobody really saw you. You're like, choo.
Hello.
Hey there.
Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes should be fine.
Okay. Okay. Mystery guest.
I was thinking longer, but I'm game for whatever.
Yeah, I think we should go a little bit longer. A little bit longer, because the magic in meditation is that our awareness starts to like break this barrier. We have our conscious, right? I'm aware of all my stuff. And then we have this like subconscious, unconscious. And a lot of the times, like our body is communicating some unconscious issue here. And as we sit and we're still, it just there's a natural like awareness just deepens. And remember, that's your incinerator. So once it finds that unconscious issue, it's going to start to move it through. Now, if we have issues like in the unconscious, they're going to be kind of show up in other relationship dynamics or characteristics. Okay, y'all.
Okay, we turned our lights off here. So I'm going to turn the video off so you won't see me with
Okay.
my eyes closed.
You sure?
Like, are you sure? You don't need to see it with the eyes closed.
All right, guys.
Are we supposed to be sitting or laying down? Or does it matter?
I think I like to just initially for engagement sitting with kind of a straight up and down spine. I think that's the most powerful posture. I do think that is the most powerful. And if you want to lay down and chill out with this, lay down and chill out with this. Like I'm not, I really, really, really just have the parameters of eyes closed, still body, and naturally your awareness being the kind of healing force and the incinerator of all the darkness and crap that it is, will start to move. So if you need to lay down, go for it. Yeah. And if that feels right to you, you just want to be careful not to doze off into sleep. Okay. So let's just find that still point. Brenda is ready to rock. So just find.
Okay, so how longer is this going to go? Is this going to go more than 5 minutes? It's going to go 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes? How long is this going to go?
Do you guys have 10 minutes in you? Don't be nervous. You can feel it.
I do.
Yeah, let's do 10 minutes and just see, I think a lot of times people are kind of hesitant and then they drop in and they're in and they're having an experience. So let's go for 10, right? So we'll come out.
Okay, I'm going to mute.
A rare occurrence. No, just kidding, Brenda. You know it. All right, y'all. So let's just first step, just close down those eyes. And the second step is that let your body be still. And now the intention that we set before our meditation begins will guide and direct what occurs for us in our meditation. So what I've learned to be most effective is to set the intention. We can all just do this in our own way to repattern and restructure our internal energetic anatomy, internal energetic architecture that holds us, it holds our psyche. And also that energy is the emotion, is the memory, is the mental beliefs that cause physical symptoms. Those kind of really subtle emotional mental vibrations are the precursors to some physical issues. And we're asking to restructure and repattern that. And I may talk a little bit during this, also maybe silent. And just be aware that insights will start to come intuitively. They're just going to show up. And to the spots that call to you in your body, just move your awareness there. So it can, for me, it can move into like the right side of my lower abdomen. And don't at all be worried if it's uncomfortable, because that feeling that's uncomfortable is being freed by the awareness it's feeling. I'll see you guys on the other side.
You are muted, Chris.
Thank you, Jackie. I'm just getting curious about whatever else is being held underneath those physical symptoms. Starting to dissolve whatever else is held, can help to dissolve the physical symptom in some cases. And if you ever encounter a feeling of kind of resistance or restlessness to the process, and just allow whatever comes up. And two, that can often be resistance to these deeper insights, to your awareness actually penetrating into what is previously unconscious. So just taking a second to sincerely, if it feels true to you, feel gratitude for yourself for having the courage to explore inner solutions in addition to all the outer solutions. Whenever feels right to you, you can allow yourself to open up your eyes and bring yourself on out of meditation. If anyone has anything to share about their experience, I would totally love to hear it.
I can share if you'd like.
Please, Terry.
Okay, so what I did is I started at my feet, and I just kind of kept telling myself, like my feet, my ankles, whatever, because I have an injury there to my ankle and my big toe. So I was telling myself, meditating, let go of anything physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, invader, inflammation in a healthy and positive way. And so then I just kind of moved up the body, the leg, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the female organs, and then the colon, the intestines, up my spine, the different parts of my spine. And I noticed that as I did that, my body started to relax, and I just kind of worked up. I got all the way up to the lungs, and then you said stop. But what I did notice is that I had my body just relaxed, like all the muscles, all those little tightnesses and, jabs and stabs, they just melted away. I didn't really have much emotions that came up. I just felt a lot of release, if you will. That's my story.
That sounds like a really powerful clearing.
Yeah, that was the purpose. I said, okay, what can I do to clear this? Let's just clear this. And so now I got to work from the lungs and go up, thyroid, shoulders, head, neck, all that. So I got to finish that. You gave me homework. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't have 3/4 of a relaxed body.
Right. And I always would end whatever I was doing, I'd say in a healthy and positive way. And what I kept saying over in my head was release whatever is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual trauma, drama in a healthy and positive way. And
Mm,
let go. So that was kind of what I kept replaying as I moved up from the tips of my toes all the way up my body. So
right.
I don't know if that was a right or wrong way to do meditation, or maybe I was overthinking it. I kept thinking, I wonder if I'm overthinking this, but it's working. What I'm doing is
Dude,
working.
I love that it worked for you. I love that you harnessed your own thing, and I can even feel on my end the shifts you created. Um, I would say maybe if there's chronic areas in the body that you're aware could have some other internal components to them, a more disciplined period of like, I'm putting my awareness in my hip, and I'm gonna kind of shift what's there. Or, just be with what's there, or see what arises. Or as I use my intention for healing and transforming, let's just kind of see what's there. So you can do the full body thing, or you can use your awareness like a laser beam and focus in on a spot that is habituated to giving you trouble.
Yeah, and the reason that I did not do that is because as I was doing that, everything melted away.
Nice.
I thought, okay, I don't want to mess with success. It's working. Not to say that it won't jump back on me, but now you've taught me the tools on what to do when it reappears. And it may be just like you said, layers. We'll just have to go through the layers of it.
Awesome. Yes.
Thank
Happy,
you.
happy onion peeling. Brenda,
What
how
you
is it for you?
I struggle with meditation. So I get relaxed fairly easily, and then I just work on my breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, and then I just kind of do the same thing she did, but I do like a tension thing, just like wiggling to see if I can go up and down areas. And because I'm sitting up, it's just one of those things where once I get too relaxed, then I want to go to sleep. So it's kind of like a half semi meditation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you hear her, Chris?
I did. Thank you.
Oh, good. Anybody else want to share? Maybe
If I
they're
may,
asleep. They might
if
be
I may
asleep.
mention another thing, when I got up to my torso, because I told you I'm dealing with the hookworms. I also added, you know, any invaders that are not beneficial to my body, to release them, to reject them and let them go. But it was funny, I could just tell as I moved up my body, all the muscle tension and the stress and all that, it just melted away. And I felt great peace. And another thing I added with the process is I was taught that if you touch all your fingers and your thumbs, your right and left hand together, that it balances the electrical system, your nervous system in your body. And so I did that the whole time. And
Mm,
so I felt like that balanced me because it's just a technique that I've been doing for a while.
mm,
Well, it's interesting that Terry said some things that I did, but I got distracted because I share a house and then I was in the dark, and so the lights turned on and there were movements, and so, but initially I can feel, you said pay attention to where you will feel some part of the body, and so it's right down it immediately my right ankle, like Terry referenced her ankles. But I had my hands, I'm sitting down in the dark before the lights came on, and I had my fingers touching Terry, and I felt a balance, but I couldn't further, go through the thought process. As I said, I was distracted, but I can see some of this being positive later on if I were to be in a place by myself where I'm not distracted. I can see it happening for me.
It's a great show. Thank you, Jackie.
Welcome.
So Jackie, like you, I had a distraction. So I was like right in the middle, and then my son texted me from Kuwait because I asked him how hot it is there. He came back and he said it's 115.
Yikes.
So yeah, so did you hear the little blip blip? Yeah,
Mhm.
that's when he
I'm like,
texts.
uh-oh.
That's when he texts me. I've got his little blip blip blip.
I'm
Yeah,
about to feel that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Kuwait is not fit for meditation.
But otherwise, I was able to go pretty deep, I think. And actually, my neck and shoulders weren't bothering me when I was sitting there. I felt a little in my low back at first, so I shifted, and that helped. But yeah, it's very relaxing for me. Meditation is very, and that's what I need. Being, having all those circles in all those rings in my eyes. That's what I need is just relaxation. So it's very good.
I think we all need quiet time, huh? We
Yeah.
just,
Mhm.
because we're got social media, everything's so busy and so crazy. And if I may just add one other thing, I'm sorry, I just keep chattering away. But Jackie, I really appreciated that you shared what you deal with, and because my niece has an autistic son, and so they deal with, a lot of challenges. But even with myself, we deal with three elderly parents in their 80s that were taken care of. And like my mom's got dementia, Parkinson's, my dad's got a lot of heart trauma. Mother-in-law just got out of the hospital with a stroke. And so just a lot of ongoing trauma and drama. But what has helped us cope with that, now I've got this new tool that Chris has taught us, if I got your name correct, with the meditation, is there's a proverbial saying that talks about laughter is good humor, laughter is good medicine. So, like, for example, with my parents, I say they have the 5 good F's. They're frisky, feisty, unfiltered, faithful, and fun. And I tease them because they're all in their 80s that it's just a temporary dirt nap and God's got a bigger plan. So we're very
Mhm.
blessed that we still have them. So the reason I say that is because we look for the giggles, if you will.
Right.
So for our family, that makes us giggle. It might not for other families, but we kind of look for the giggles in the trauma drama, and that helps us cope. And then I could see where the meditation would help also process it and calm the dynamics down, if you will. I don't know, Chris, you may have a better way of saying that, but I just want to throw that out there. But thank you, Jackie, for sharing.
You're welcome. And I do want to say one thing while you're on the subject of dementia. And Brenda and Chris, please forgive me for this moment. I'm taking away from your time. So, and I don't know if this is going to help, but a study was done, and one of the doctors, I can send you a Facebook request and we can chat more. But a study was done where it says that melatonin given in large doses helps with dementia. Now, I have brain shrinkage, and I know people don't want to hear anything about that. Brain shrinkage is a real thing. When I take pictures of my eyes, because of Brenda and I being in iridology, I can see that in my pictures. And so I take 10 milligram tablets of melatonin every night, and brain protects with huperzine. These are good things to help with brain health, but as far as not allowing the dementia to go further, now you said they have dementia, but it's a debilitating disease. So right now, if you can halt it, you may be able to get these little, and they're cheap. We have BJ's over here, like less than $20. You can get that for 300 tablets and take 7 a night. For women, it's 75 milligrams, and for men, it's 125. And I know I'm not diagnosing, I'm just saying what this doctor has. I'm forwarding this information to you. So I will find the video and send it to you if you're interested in that. But that is helping me because I can't hold a thought. Someone would tell me information, I find I'm losing control of the thought. What is it? I'm forgetting. So that I can see a big difference. And with muscle testing, I can see that my brain is improving and it is getting better. I'm successful with it.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are. We've already put her on melatonin. Actually, the neurologist recommended that. And I have her on the Mind Max and the Brain Protect. So yeah, we're working with those. And the other thing I'm going to add to her when I get down there, when we get moved, is the zeolite, because it's the mineral that will encapsulate or encage the toxins. So I'm open for any suggestions, but thank you very much. Thank all of y'all. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, Brenda. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie, for your experience and sharing, because sharing is caring, right?
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So Chris, do you have anything else you want to do or say to kind of complete everything?
Yeah. So and when we initially start meditating, it's kind of light and fluffy, and or not. We can be restless and kind of agitated. But progressively, what we want to do is train ourselves to receive insights and train ourselves to be our own healer at like a deep, deep, deep and profound level. So less and less we rely on any outside source. More and more we become just autonomous and independent. So we just essentially, we want to train ourselves to have the insights as to what is occurring inside of us. So that is essentially the direction we're headed. It's natural to have resistance. It's totally natural not to get there if you haven't been meditating. But ultimately, for this style of meditation for healing, we are looking to move deeper. And that's what I offer. I love it. So grateful to be connected to Brenda. So if you guys ever want to move your awareness deeper, collaborating with her and also offering sessions, and this is my
So
passion.
can you tell us please about your sessions, what you offer, because this is also going to go on YouTube and this is going to go to all my students. So I have like 60 people that are signed up for this class. So can you tell us about your sessions, what you do, how long they are, how much you charge? I know you work remotely and in person, so can you just give us a short little explanation?
Sure. I love doing sessions. A lot of times I have so much fun. They start with a dialogue, and it can be, depending on the person's personality, it can be quite fun dialogue. And especially once I know someone, we can banter back and forth, but there's going to be like goals to a degree that I can't see where to move them and where to move their psyche to most benefit whatever challenges they are going through. So I also work with children with special needs in this process, and can just help usher along the person's consciousness and where they need to move their awareness to move the stuck energy that comprises their psyche up and out. So it always starts with a conversation, we're going to shoot the shit, get to know each other, build a relationship. And then for the second half of the session, we're going to dive on into meditation together. And while we're meditating, there'll be periods of silence and periods of us dialoguing as to what's occurring for the individual and what's releasing and moving. We'll always just be formulating also on the same end, your meditation practice that you bring your intention to keep moving things along. And sessions are 60 minutes, and it's a sliding scale of $70 to $100.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to share my slide screen again here and give you guys the information again. And then I also have the date for the next class. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, the Learning to Meditate class on Friday.
Oh, yes, we have a Learning to Meditate class on Friday that Chris is giving. 6 o'clock, right?
6 p.m. Eastern or Pacific, excuse me.
6 p.m. Pacific. Is it going to also be open to remote? Yes.
Remote and in person, yeah.
And in person. So if anybody's interested, it's what, $10? Just yeah. So it's not expensive. Okay, so if you're interested in class on Friday or interested in talking to Chris some more, here's his email, Christopher, and then his text here, 207-939-1805. And there's his company, Tears of Beauty, Meditation and Healing. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Brenda. And great to meet you, Terry. Great to meet you, Jackie.
Nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Because my question was, do you do group? Because I'm a groupie. Like I love being in the groupie thing. So, but obviously you do because that's what you're going to have. Brenda, is there any way you can, my computer's dying and I can't get a picture of this. Is there any way you can email this information to us so we have
Yeah,
it?
send me a message and I'll email it to you.
Okay,
Okay, so the next Herbal Hour will be on June 18th, and it's going to be on the immune system.
Yay, thank
Okay,
you.
and I'll have another guest. We'll have another guest, hopefully. I just thought we could do that for the next 3 or 4 classes and introduce you guys to some of these services. And anybody interested in taking the class or talking to Chris, please do. Okay, so we're just about to add another hour, so I'm going to say goodnight. All right,
Good
so
night, everyone.
I'm going to stop the recording here and